If you're not aware, Elon has now been kicked out of the White House. He's no longer heading Doge. And, days later, he's turning around and he's stabbing Trump in the back. And there's a feud going on between the president and the richest man alive. And can I just say, straight off the bat, this is just all media sensationalism. It is all trash journalism. Let me just share it with you. Musk tweeted, or X'd, whatever you call it now. He said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination." Now, those be fighting words, and he doesn't like the big, beautiful bill. The big, beautiful bill refers to a piece of legislation that Trump is trying to get through Congress at the moment. It is basically his one big shot at framing the way that the budget and the American economy will be framed over the next so many years. He's giving incredible and extensive tax cuts to the wealthiest people in America. He's going to be cutting social spending, cuts to Medicaid, and cuts to social programs. One of those social programs called SNAP, a funky acronym for what used to be known as food stamps. Trump, classic Republican. Let's attack people that, need support to meet their basic needs. And a big part of this bill as well is increased defense spending. So they've allocated $150 billion of additional funds for defense technologies, and they're going to include about $46 billion for funds for additional Border Patrol agents. All the rhetoric that's coming out of the liberal establishment at the moment, and I do mean that in a pejorative way if you're wondering why I was being sarcastic there, is that this is going to actually raise the national debt ceiling by $4 trillion. And so the idea that what he's doing from a budgetary perspective is going to help the deficit is laughable. $4 trillion extra. And that leads us to Musk's call, which is, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination." Now, let's be honest, what he's really speaking about there, on the surface, he's been doing all this work with Doge to make government more efficient, and then they've gone ahead and they are going to increase the debt, and they are spending on things like military spending and border security, and they're spending like $150 billion. And what has Musk really gouged out through the Doge process so far? About $150 billion. All of the savings that he's made so far is just going to be chewed up instantly with increased military spending. Now, before you go on and think, oh wow, Musk is obviously on the right side of this political debate, and he doesn't want to have any money spent on extra wars and the merchants of death. No, it's got nothing to do with that. Musk is part of the dark MAGA movement. So the Silicon Valley cult, he's part of the dark enlightenment, and these people are only interested in government spending if the government is spending on the interests of Silicon Valley. And so the traditional military industrial complex is anathema to these people. They don't have anything to do with it. So if he's spent all his time clawing spending back from all these other government departments, and then Trump, with the other hand, gives it back to the traditional capitalists out there, Silicon Valley people hate that type of stuff. They are liberals when they need to be, when it's about fighting the old capitalist order, but when it comes to increasing the power of the new capitalist order, so the tech bros, they are ruthless conservatives, and beyond that, they are neo-reactionaries. So don't be thinking that this is an actual feud. This is really just media beat up. And I'll tell you something interesting that you might not have known about the big, beautiful bill. There is a special provision just for the tech bros. And so like Musk is doing the traditional, hey, look over here, I don't like this big beautiful bill, but let's not talk about this little provision over here. So it makes him look like he's on the progressive side of the conversation, where really section 43201C of the bill states, no state or political subdivision thereof may enforce any law or regulation regulating artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems. This is basically what it's saying. There is a provision that is supposed to stop any states or local government or any authority out there beyond the federal government from doing any regulation on any AI for the next 10 years. That is fucking mental. Like when you apply a Marxian analysis to capitalism, it doesn't get any more overt than that bad boy right there. This is the ultimate example of how the bourgeoisie, the most important section of the capitalist class at any one time, really controls society. They have wrangled a way to ensure that every possible barrier to the development of AI technology across the United States has been effectively neutralized, unless it is at the federal level, where people can, like Elon Musk, can buy themselves a president. Trump has responded. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Now, these be fighting words again. And like he's basically just saying, yeah, look, Elon, you survive off government contracts. And like, this is what we've been saying for like months now, is that these tech bros, they are actually married to the state. They don't exist on the free market by the sale of their much desired consumer goods to the general population. And here we have Trump calling it out for what it is and saying that, Elon, we'd all save a lot of money if you didn't survive off subsidies and government contracts. On today's episode of America, yeah, Steven Z, isn't it like that? Like seriously, I have been saying for months now, the tech bros and like the White House have come together in a very special merger, and there seems to be a rift going on there. I don't buy it. I think this is all part of like this very well curated social media campaign by two figures who, for obvious reasons, have had to separate. This is a perfect opportunity for these two titans of narcissism to separate themselves and repair their own images. Donald Trump wants to be the big boss, and like he doesn't want to live in a world where he is beholden to Elon Musk anymore. And so like this feud, this well curated PR campaign, let's be honest, has been put together by their social media managers. And like Elon Musk has a lot of damage control to do, because like before his association with the Trump campaign, like people loved him on all sides of the political spectrum. Now a lot of people will say, hand on heart, oh, you could never repair the damage. Elon has been absolutely destroyed in my mind. But like, you watch all the people jump on now and be like, like he's standing up against Trump. You got to give Elon a second chance. So like, as far as I see this feud benefits the both of them. What Elon Musk really said was, it's time to drop the real big bomb. Trump has been implicated in the Epstein files, and that's the reason that they aren't public. Basically, the allegation is he is suppressing this story from coming out and being a big problem. Elon Musk is a perpetual whinger. And you know what? Anyone has a picture with Epstein. And like Musk is upset that he's not in the Epstein files. And like, here's the other thing. He called for Trump to be impeached. Okay? And can you guess where this is going? And asked for JD Vance to be handed the presidency. JD Vance, if you remember, is the puppet who has completely been made by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel controls JD Vance. He made him what he is, And so like it suits, I would say, the tech bros just fine to have JD Vance to be the new president of the United States, because then they would have full unrestricted access to the White House and the most important levers of power in the capitalist world.
Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery. I am on Patreon. Please follow the link in the description and sign up for free. We are trying to build a revolutionary community over there. So go, become a member for free and join the conversation. If you can contribute financially, that would help a lot.